Yeah, so I mean, I'm not familiar with like the history of Longmont. Like we came here 3 years ago, I guess 4 years ago now. So I don't know the like history,
Mm.
but like I have heard it's changing, and I've heard that since I've gotten here. But what did it used to be in terms of nightlife ish?
Um, I guess like the fundamental thing that's changing now is probably just the kinds of acts that are floating up. Um, I think that when we first got here, there really wasn't a music scene
Mm.
and no place to put a music scene. The reason I moved to Longmont is because it's 40 minutes from Denver or Fort Collins. It's right away down the street from all these other towns.
Very central location.
Yeah. And because
similar, by the way, reasoning here.
yeah, and so it was obvious to me at the time. This would be back in 2007 when I first started scoping this town out, and it seemed like it was going to grow. And the thing that was growing was basically solo acoustic acts, because all these places were tiny, just getting going, could barely afford to do any music, and so the niche was um, somebody with their guitar could get in the corner and play for a couple hours, and that brought people out, you know?
Yeah.
But the economy's continued to grow, and more venues have started to open up, and now there are, 15 just breweries in Longmont.
Yeah.
And so all of those places are subtly, and sometimes not so subtly, competing with each other. So they all want more bang for their buck. They all want to do live music. But when you got 14 places talking about doing live music in a town this size, it dilutes who's coming out. And especially when more people start smelling opportunity in this area and come to town and start their bands, it just increases competition,
Yeah.
which is good. But
in some ways,
one thing that happens when that goes down is the venues now they want to have a full band to bring more energy in the room and make it more of an event, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not because they can afford a full band. It's because they want that.
No, it's just they're trying to compete sound level wise and energy wise with other. Yeah.
Right. So the thing that's happening now is lots of places are wanting full bands,
Yeah.
and
because none of these venues can afford full bands.
no,
That's just a note.
none of them can afford it, and so it's bands are taking those gigs, of course, because they're the gigs in town, and it becomes this kind of like. I believe that it is sort of like I don't want to speak a bunch of curse onto it, but I think it's sort of like a sign of the beginning of the end of what this was here in town, you know,
Yeah.
or at least like the end of the cycle. You know, it'll all come back around, but I believe that there's every reason to think that there will be a market correction nationally coming soon, because you know. All the people that wrecked the economy last time are still doing the same shit they were doing. You know, that part hasn't really changed, and so I think that we'll probably run into some economic woes before too long. Whether it's like we get into a war or whatever it is, we cut our taxes up in a weird way. It fucks everybody.
Yeah.
As soon as the average person quits having expendable income, the numbers across our whole business get tight. You know,
Yeah.
when old John Smith that goes to his desk job or whatever gets his pay cut because of the national level economy, the first thing he's going to stop doing is spending extra money going out to shows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So then the venues will want to compete harder by having more, you know, larger events and more bands and stuff, but they would be making even less money. So that's how you end up having a music scene where everybody's playing for exposure eventually, and you know.
Well, then my question to you would be this: what? So that's where you see it going is a scene where everyone's playing for exposure.
Well, yeah, eventually. I think like
I mean, 'cause I basically think we're at that now. Because like I said, these venues can't afford full bands, but full bands are playing there. I mean, my band plays there.
yeah. I mean, they're still paying a little bit, but they're paying what they can pay for sure. But
Yeah,
there's just
coming from the
simple
East
economics.
Coast though, it's tiddlywinks.
Yeah,
It's
I'm sure that's right.
It's tiddlywinks.
This
And
is not the East Coast, that's for sure.
yeah, no, it's I don't think people realize that. Like they see certain numbers for bands, and these are just standard numbers for bands. But they look at them like, oh my gosh, we can't do that.
Yeah.
And and I think they don't, like you said, a market correction. I just don't think they realize what the market really sits at nationwide. Not, I mean, locally it's at a certain thing, yes. Nationwide, it's a whole different monster.
Yeah.
It's a whole different monster, and you can tell because when they bring in like a touring act, they definitely feel the burn, and they burn the local acts for it. I think that's interesting. Um, I mean, I've long kind of looked at the music scene here and wondered where and in what direction things will go. Like you said, there's 15 given venues on any night. Um, well, I mean, we could say what 30 really active acts.
Yeah.
I mean,
It may be that, maybe not even that many, but across the whole Front Range is really what you're talking about, because every town now has like 15 breweries and whatever.
so out of this music scene, out of the Front Range, yeah, there's a really active acts, 30.
Yeah,
I'd say.
that sounds about right.
In this area, just like semi-active acts, you've got like 40.
Yeah, a
just
lot.
semi-active,
Totally.
but just like the ones that are like constantly playing like shows like up and down the Front Range, that's probably like 30.
Yeah.
30, 35 range that are of a pretty regular basis.
Yeah.
Would be my guess. Which leaves you've got a venue, say there's two of them in, or three of them in each of these towns, or even five. Let's put five in Denver, five in Boulder, 5 in Longmont, 5 in Fort Collins, 5 in Greeley, 5 in Loveland. You can put 5 in each night, but all of those are going to spread that town's music going population amongst themselves for that night. And what happens is you don't get really those nights that make an impact for a band, those sellout nights.
Right.
And that's why I don't think it's good for the music scene, because of like the variety is good, the artistry is good, but there needs to be some sort of, and this is where, because independent, like this whole scene is very independent DIY. So
Yeah.
And this is where what I'm about to say sounds like a little bit of, I guess, industry-ish. But there needs to be probably a gatekeeper, some tastemakers, something of that nature. There needs to be some sort of something set up where someone's reviews count for something, where someone's or something. There's someone to introduce and sort of pick and introduce those things to people.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's just going to be this constant thing where bands are going around in a circle. No one really generates enough momentum until they leave the area to do anything about, really generating momentum. And because they don't generate momentum until they leave the area, you get a whole bunch of bands that just sort of fall off, even if they are good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all a natural part of the process, I think. There's kind of a natural inhale, exhale thing that an economy does. And that's a healthy economy. It's supposed to go up and down, But I think that it will go down soon, in the next few years. And, it'll be a sad time for a lot of people. And I think, a lot of bands will sort of pack up and quit playing because it's more trouble than it's worth. And I know that I won't be one of those, because I was in business back in 2008, 2009 when the market crashed last time. Yeah. I was doing this job back then, and I got punched in the fucking mouth about it. It was a real business problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. When the gigs started drying up, I've seen it happen. So I know, for me in my business, I know that now is the time to diversify income streams. While people have expendable income and they're used to spending it, now is like the time I'm trying to how do you say? I'm trying to find new ways to make money that don't have anything to do with alcohol and don't have anything to do with live music. Because I'll still be playing live music. That's not going away. You know, I don't ever stop doing that because that's my first love. You know.
Yeah.
But I know I ain't gonna be paying my rent with just that in 5 years. Because it's gonna take. We'll have to rebuild everything that was built this time. You know.
So you said the economy goes up and down. My question would be this: so when the economy, like in 2008, 2009, remember when the audio industry was just like screwed?
Yeah.
But there was a couple like staples, a couple big names that were able to kind of squirm through, make it. My fear for our music is that things are so spread, that the tensile strength is so low that when that does happen, there won't be those big things that are able to push through and survive.
Yeah. Yep, that's a real genuine fear. That's super reasonable to be afraid of.
Because that's all I'm here for, is to make music and then make it in a way that is viable to be a lifestyle.
Yeah, I think that will always be a possibility, but there are lots of ways to make money from music. I think like one thing.
Yeah.
One
but
thing,
I am not too concerned about myself because I feel like I have the ability, like I'll be able to write for people. I'll be able to expand, produce. I've started moving out from just playing live music, so it's not just live music. But there's a lot of people who are very much, that is the only thing when it comes to music. That's the only thing. And I've seen bands that we haven't even hit that mark yet where they're starting to drop off, and it's like, and I don't like seeing that. It's not good for our music scene. It's not good for the people who are involved in those bands. So to mitigate that though, I think one thing we as a community can do, and again, this is going to sound, I guess, uppity, but we can do a better job of curating ourselves.
Yeah. But who wants to be the person that tells band X, hey man, you guys aren't really at the level that's worth paying for? You know? I don't do that.
You may not want to, but if someone doesn't, then the economy is going to tell all of us that.
You're not wrong.
Like if someone doesn't, if that distinction isn't made sooner than later, then somehow, some way, it's going to be made. And if it's made by the economy rather than a curator or someone else, it's going to be way more brutal than if it was just someone saying, "Hey, go back to the drawing board on this one," or a little more time in the woodshed on this one.
If there were some kind of public voting website, then the public can anonymously tell bands that they're ready or not ready. You know? And it could just be a fresh vote every month or whatever. And that would be an interesting thing, actually. Because then it would be like kind of a doctor's checkup for your band every month.
I mean, I wouldn't mind that for my own band. Like, I mean, I'm not saying this as someone who's saying that his band would just, be, one that'd be cool to go. And okay,
you guys are a fucking excellent band.
Well, but I believe always that there's something we can work on. I believe someone would come up to us and tell us, "Hey, you guys aren't living up to this. You guys could do this better." And that's perfectly fine. But that's what I've been through also constantly through my music career. Yeah. Someone like, "Hey, take this back to the drawing board. Hey, take this." And that's, I think, a vital part of a vibrant music community. Someone being there like, "Hey, potential here, but it's not there yet.
Yeah.
And I've had people tell me that. I mean, this band didn't, come about. This isn't the first music project I've been in.
No, and this didn't happen overnight.
You try and fail, and try again. And
I watched you and Thomas come to town, and your just 2 guitars, 2 dudes at open mic, and there was like a special thing there. But you guys have had to work hard to build what you have.
We are nowhere. I am 8 times the performer I was when I moved here.
Yeah.
I mean, 8 times the performer, and I've still got a lot of growth to do. And I know that. But but there's people there who are like, hey, this is what you could work on. This is what you can do. And I had people telling me that in Virginia. I had people telling me that here. And I think more people could be here telling me. Because it was a real small community in Virginia. But there was someone to pull me aside like, hey, you don't, I like what you're doing out solo, but you come back to the studio, work on this more. And
I wonder if the difference, part of it could be just like your skill level itself means that there are few people that can tell you what you could be doing better. If you're 8 times better than the person people were giving tips to, then that probably also means that there are 8 times fewer motherfuckers that can really give you helpful tips.
Some of it may be that. Like I said, the community we came from is 10 times smaller than this one in terms of musically. So I tend to think that there's 10 times the amount of people that could tell me I could be. I mean, I know for sure I'm not. There's a whole bunch more people that, that are musically better than me in this community than were better than me in that one.
Sure.
But there was still there was someone there who was like, yo, I really like what you're writing. I really like what you're doing. Just don't, humor me. Don't go out and play it yet. Yeah. Come back and work on it a little bit more. Develop this, develop that. That part of artist development is important for a community.
That's true. I don't know how to do that at scale, except to have a public vote that's just always open and running. But even that gets manipulated. That's hard to get a real message through.
Yeah. And it's something I've been thinking about because I think it's important. Like I said, I think it's important. People get mad at gatekeepers and stuff like that, but they do serve a purpose in terms of raising the bar in terms of what gets through. One person I do think has kind of done a good job. I've never gone to one. I've always regretted. Tim Ostic. I always say his name. Ostic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's how to remember it.
I always want to say pronounce extra on the last syllable that I need to, and I always want to say deek instead of dit.
It's spelled like it would be like that. I want him to produce a sex toy that will help people learn his name. It's called the Stick.
Well, he does a song circle and I've seen that. That's a good thing. There needs to be a community of songwriters.
That's one of those iron sharpens iron kind of deal.
A community of people where that line could be better. A community where they can profess, this person writes really good songs, and it's not just because you just go around and you've been to a couple of gigs because you've been in writing circles with that person. The effort they put into the craft that they're doing, and that is one thing I think is missing from our musical community here. And if we had that, it would elevate things exponentially.
It could maybe even be its own private business. Somebody starts up a business of artist development. Somebody whose opinions people respect.
I mean, it's the role that labels used to serve.
Yeah, exactly. That's a useful thing, for sure. I wonder, but then again, okay, so here's where the rubber meets the road. How much are you, as an artist, willing to pay to hear someone else's honest opinion over your work? And give you things to work on?
See, this is where... So there should be a way. So just like labels were able to... The artists have to pay labels in percentages, yes.
Yeah.
But an artist is willing to pay a percentage if they know the return is coming back that they wouldn't have been able to get by themselves.
Yeah.
So if you were to have a firm like that, that's where the value comes in, because you can tell an artist, all right, so you are going to get 1,000 years on this, and you're going to get from those 1,000 years, maybe 500 of them, just maybe, and that's very generous to try and share with their friends. Really, in all reality, it's probably going to be more like, out of that 1,000, more like 35.
Yeah.
But if we can show ways that grows, that we can grow that.
I mean, do you tie it to numbers, or do you tie it to like, look at the artist you are now?
Well,
and then 6 months.
The art that's how the artist is going to want to see some sort of tangible, like unless they just really like unless they're gonna put the faith, like that's how you give them something tangible. But you can go to them with hey, you can be a better artist.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder, I think, to show that tangibly, like.
Yeah. And now you're 40% better artist. It's
that's hard. Like, but if you can say,
artist
but
knows,
the artist knows. But if you're like, we can expand your reach just simply by doing these couple things. Like, this is what you're not doing. Whether it be like, I think just as well artistically, business wise, people need consultation.
Yeah. Yeah. That you can't. People don't just naturally do that for each other. So I hear what you're saying.
Well, but that's what makes a strong musical community, and it doesn't like that, and that comes through like a semi-competitive and a semi-artistic, like a perfect meld of those worlds where there is a little bit of competition that, like you said, that iron sharpens iron. But at the same time, there's that knowing that a rising tide raises all ships.
Yeah. And
so you know that you help the people around you, they'll do better. The people, as they're doing better, so will you. And that knowledge has to be there for people.
I have long been in the business of promoting other artists. I care about other artists. I know how it feels to feel neglected by society. Nobody's listening. That you're playing to this imaginary audience in your mind instead of real people. So the Prairie Scholars, my old organization I worked with, my band, we really made it a point to help showcase artists. That was like our main focus. And one of the benefits of that is we get to help a lot of wonderful people find the light a little bit, the limelight. And let's say, Fox Feather, for instance, they're a great band. And the Prairie Scholars were very instrumental in helping those guys find a foothold in this community. I'm more than willing to say that. And I think that if Fox Feather goes and gets famous and does all this crazy shit, and they do a movie about them or whatever, I think the Prairie Scholars are in that fucking story. If it's just for a scene.
You think they're in the music documentary?
Absolutely. Because, we were instrumental in helping that. It was not because... They didn't make it because of us, but, we're in...
you guys helped out quite a bit.
We're in that movie, too. You know what I mean? We're in the background or in a scene or something like that, for sure. And that's what I'm looking for. I like that to be part of my legacy. That,
leaving a little trail, some seeds here and there.
Those, maybe of the bands in town, 80%, 90% of them have gotten checks from us. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And gigs and connections. And so if any of those guys ever get famous, we're in that fucking story as a helper. I you hear about Jimi Hendrix story or whatever, and you hear about, and then producer X heard him and just was like, you need to meet this person. Boom, now we made a Jimi Hendrix or whatever the fuck it is. I want to be that guy. Mm. I've got my own art I feel strongly about. I want to share. I'd love to be the Jimi Hendrix character in the story too. But I'm happy to be the guy that goes, hey, Bob Dylan, meet the Beatles, and the Beatles are forever changed and all this.
I feel like that's important to have in a music community. Like, I mean, I know when Thomas and I got here, one of our goals was like, we didn't ever want to be. We wanted to be part of the community, but we also didn't want to be limited in that we weren't bringing other outside things. Like, we wanted to bring like a global aspect to the community as well.
Yeah.
And that was always like what we wanted to do. Like, we wanted to be able to feel like, Native Station is very much started local and then like big, and then but you can still find roots local.
Yeah.
Like, but you don't get that without there being strong webs there, interconnections.
Oh yeah, it ain't free. You have to do the work,
and
that's what's so noble about it. That's why I want it, because it's the noble way.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to just get a loan and buy my way to the.
There's a lot of people who are
I don't want that. That would feel icky to me. I want it because I earned it. You know, I want, if I get the attention that, say, Justin Bieber, he has so much attention. If I had that level of attention, I would be making art even more than I am now, because I love to communicate to people. But fuck, man, I'm happy with what I got. Really,
the first out of this like music community we have, the first group to make it like really national in some way needs to be sure to give back and keep that chain going.
I hope so.
That's important.
I hope so.
That's the most important. That's how that's how musical communities sustain, is people giving back. No, not forgetting, where they, but there also has to be, you want that community where you just feel obligated to, where you're just like, yeah, this community is, and I think that we're gonna have a stronger one through a couple things like we've been talking about. A couple like, and I don't know the best way to do it, but some peer review, some kind of way to get that moving would be really, I think, helpful.
Like an on the level lunch where everybody gets together and eats sandwiches and goes, so I saw your show the other day. I noticed your mix was bullshit.
Like, all of that. Like, hey, I haven't been recommending your band because every time I go, it's always too loud. Or every time I go, I can't understand. Like,
that would be so essential for everybody involved.
But I feel like we as artists sometimes get just too... and I'm just as guilty, this is me just like speaking, things I've been thinking about myself being guilty of. Just, like I said, I've disappeared for a couple weeks. Like, when I get in an album mood, it's just like, it's like tunnel.
Yep.
It's like hibernation. And that's something I'm realizing I could be better at. I can plan a little better ahead. Be more prepared, block out times better, all those things. Like, just, but I think it's important that we I don't see enough collabs on record, on wax.
That's a really good thing. That's what that's something I want to get into as well.
I do not see, like, man, there's no collabs on, maybe not no, but I haven't really seen any collabs.
Roscoe Wyatt's got an album full of it, basically. It's all collaboration stuff. And that's cool. But yeah, people ought to be doing one-off singles with each other. Even, fucking songs are worth nothing. Don't worry about splitting up the fucking 80 cents. You know what I mean? It's just like, don't worry about that.
Well, I don't want to say songs aren't worth nothing.
Well, you know what I'm saying.
So, Thomas's dad, my uncle, said something once that has always resonated. Because we were worrying about something about, getting our songs sold, and if we sold, send them off or something. And he said something to the fact, like, if you're truly creative, and you are truly a songwriter, you don't have to worry about that because you're just gonna get better.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And I have taken that to heart, and so they're not worth nothing, but it's the realization that you have more.
Yeah.
And you have to be, that takes a certain confidence though.
I more meant like if you and I did a collaboration, one of my concerns wouldn't be what are we gonna do with all the money.
Well, no,
song
but I
brings in?
think but why people get so caught up in that though is because they're like, oh, we've got something good here, and I can't get another one.
Oh.
And if you start to get tied up into that, oh, I can't get another one feeling, then you're
You
like, I've got to have this percentage. I've got to no. If you're like, I can do it, then you're not so tied to your percentage, or so, and then that's when you're not so tied to, oh, the song is worth this much, and then that allows for a little bit more creative freedom. But like, yeah, I mean, we need more collabs. We need more producers who are just like putting people together.
I would really like to get involved, just sitting in and help producing local albums.
I got some ideas. I got some people I would
That would be
produce.
fun.
Some people I put together.
Mm-hmm.
I got some. I got some. I mean, and a lot of the people here are all about writing their own stuff, which is, I think, great. I think also it'd be good to have some songwriter collabs. Because I think that's how you can also, like, if you're able to put like two people in a room or two groups in a room that you feel have similar sounds and provide them with a piece, and they're willing to work on that, I think that's important in terms of like growing, like artistry, growing the community. I think
That's
that can be.
cool idea.
I think that could be important, but I don't think that's done in this area really.
No, it's not.
That's done in New York, L.A., everywhere else that like major music is being made, and because they're putting all the greatest minds together and putting out great things that way. Like, these people aren't just sitting in their basements alone. They're writing songs. They're putting all the greatest minds together and taking and patching together the greatest things from their area. And I think there's something to be said for that. I don't think this area has done that yet. I think if it wants to make the next step musically, that's the way to go.
It'd be nice to grow it to that next level before that kind of economic trouble I was talking about.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you gotta move fast because it's coming.
Yeah.
I mean that's coming. Like, you can just look around, look at how the breweries operate, and they're like the birds. They're the portents. They're telling you what's happening. Oh, bad weather. Yeah.
I think most of the breweries are still experiencing growth, and I don't really understand how many breweries is too many breweries, and I don't really know that. It seems like a lot of them are doing well.
I would pretend that's not necessarily the case. Look at the lifespans, and then look at the lifespans of other businesses, and then.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think that if you look at the rate that breweries close around here, you look at the rate that other businesses close around here. Breweries are, they just.
Well, that's gonna happen because there are a lot of startup businesses. But I think like once the breweries that have business models and are actually like running businesses, those guys seem to be doing pretty well still. But there are a lot of them, and I think it's starting to be one of those things where tourism is becoming more and more important. People from outside our community, their dollars are becoming more and more important to maintain.
A lot of that was based off of marijuana boom too, and how long is that going to sustain? Considering the rest of the world pretty much is starting to legalize it.
We could have done way more with it while we had the lead. We could have gotten way more money out of it if we'd have just leaned in more.
I'm sort of feeling like that's kind of done with. Not done with, but it's the downward slope.
Definitely.
And like, you're not going to get the same boom that came with that, and I feel like that lends a lot to the brewery thing, because now they're just gonna open breweries other places. People aren't gonna feel the need to, they'll get stuff shipped out, but it's not like they'll become more. I feel like manufacturer type than like walk in.
I just had a wonderful idea. May I share it with you?
Please do.
What if? Because I was trying to think like what. Because you're right, the marijuana tourism thing that's going to spread out over the whole country now. We've sort of lost the head start, and we did okay. But we could have done better. What's something we could still do? Marijuana theme park. Now hear me out. This marijuana theme park is in. It's like it looks like a foresty kind of place. Nature. It looks like the Shire from Lord of the Rings. Okay. And you have a wristband. And each time you go to a thing and, I'm going to eat this edible or whatever, you scan the wristband and it keeps track of how much weed is in your system. Oh, I bought a joint, I'm smoking it, and my wristband knows. So, like, that way you don't overserve people, and that's how you keep track of it.
But there's nothing. Okay. So.
And then they go around.
I think you'd probably be better served to have just people signing something when they walked in the park.
Oh, you'll do that too for sure.
Because I don't know that I feel like the wristband thing is going to have some ways you can get around.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure there are. You do.
So you want to sign like they're signing that waiver. Yeah. We waive any right to sue.
I can be removed from the premises at any time or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would be an interesting thing. If you could control, because it'd be like having a beer-themed park, where it's like people go there to get drunk. So you're just dumping drunks back out into society at some point. That's like what it would be. But if you could control the dosages, and if you could you could have it be like a retreat, where it's like, you have to stay here until you're not high. And that's kind of like the vibe. I hate the word have to, but if you sign into a thing where it's like, I'm doing it for the afternoon, it's like a spa treatment, it's a 5-hour thing. Yeah. You show up, the first half hour is you hang out, then you pick something, you edible maybe, or you smoke it down or whatever, and you're just hanging out in this park, and it's the Shire.
So you're trying to avoid people like driving while they're...
Yeah.
I don't think you have to do all that.
No?
Bars don't make you stay.
No, that's right.
It's on the patron.
Yeah. No, that's right. Anyway, that would be like the final way that we could cash in. Because we have a beautiful foresty place. You turn it into like a themed place. You could make it Santa's, place in the fucking winter because it's all covered in snow anyway. People go there for Christmas. People go there for Valentine's. But the baseline is it's like little cabins or little hobbit hills with, I think it is the shit. You can still do it, and you would still be good.
Probably make it in the mountains so they have ski available.
Yeah, you could do it kind of in the mountains so you're not bothering the city folk. Or you could do it just outside of Denver. You could do it, you could do it anywhere. You could put it in Berthoud.
You probably have 2 locations because I feel like you want to take advantage of like the ski snowboarding attraction thing too.
Yeah, you put it just on the other side of Loveland or something like that.
So you get one of those, and then you get one right outside Denver, where it's just more like.
It's more man-made hills, and
yeah.
It's a park. It's a giant park with walls, so people can't look in, and you know what I mean. They're all painted to look like it goes on forever or whatever. So at a distance, it just it's a chill place. That is shit. Or you put it in a greenhouse.
I guess it all depends on who gets voted governor.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think anybody's gonna side with me on this idea.
I don't know, man. That Jared Polis guy's pretty marijuana friendly.
Yeah, that's who I voted for.
I have not voted yet.
Yeah, I did it.
They didn't send me my ballot. They don't want me to vote.
Oh, really?
They did not send me my ballot. So now they're making me go in, and they're doing this on purpose because they don't want me to vote.
Yeah, they want to scan you and and they're gonna spray you with chemicals and stuff.
Make sure they got my name right. Make sure they got me in the system right. Check me against my fingerprint. I hate. Oh man, how is it? Thomas was asking, how is it we can't vote online yet?
Oh my God, I don't know. We bank. We do everything else. Everything else online. You do all your banking. You turn in your taxes online. Why are you not voting online? Because it's too easy. People would do it. That's why. You think so? Yeah. Because people would do it.
Oh, we're not eliminating that obstacle. What?
And they say, like, it's too easy to hack. Bullshit. You don't say it about your bank account. And if it is hacked...
that is so... They could easily put the money into it to not make it hacked. They just don't want to.
So, if it were important, they would put... It would be like the number one thing that hackers would try and hack.
Well, I already told you how I feel about
I think the real thing is facial recognition software, which is already... Like, my phone has it. I think that and that unlocks online voting.
Oh, facial recognition, you can probably override pretty easily. You got 3D printers and stuff now.
Oh, man. I mean, I don't know. I think that, like, the better the facial recognition technology gets, the more...
Aren't fingerprints still the best?
Fingerprints, probably, but you could do that, too. You could do combination.
Yeah,
so you have to have a fingerprint touching it while you do your... You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That seems pretty good to me.
That seems pretty...
That's super easy.
Pretty solid.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think...
But then everybody would have to have, like, the phone that could do that, though.
Well, that's all good. We'll issue them. You know what I mean?
The government's not trying to give everybody that knowledge.
Fuck yeah. I say, or we'll do it at the library. We've got a system, a thing at the library. You come by anytime.
Well, then they were still voting. They were still voting by going in.
But you could also get the phone sent to you. If we can buy bombs to drop on motherfuckers, I think we can send little.
Yeah, we can buy bombs because we're taking out people. But to educate people, you don't spend that much money.
You're mailing ballots now. Instead, you just send this thing along with it, and all it is the scanner and the camera. It's not a fucking phone. It's just that device.
I think you're overestimating the government's desire to provide technology to its people.
Oh, definitely. But this is what I would do if I were in the fucking government. That's the kind of shit I'd be trying to accomplish.
Yeah, I mean, well, man, there's so many things that I would do if I was in the government. Just basic things that would start to get implemented. And yeah, and it would take a lot of money.
Like, why doesn't your congressperson have a video blog every day? You know, why isn't there a live cam in their office?
Well, because you know why.
So you get blowjobs.
The first thing to fix government is to rid all of Washington of lobbyists.
Yeah, lobbyists. Oh, I thought you meant because of all the blowjobs.
No. Well, I mean, of the, I guess, metaphorical ones, yes, where they're just, or maybe realistic ones, where they're just like, because I mean, we just got any influence over people who are making decisions needs to be eliminated.
It's tough. It's tough, man.
Because, why though?
Well, I'll tell you, if I were a congressperson, one thing I would want is I'd want to hear experts from both sides of issues.
Okay.
And I think that's often how that stuff gets presented. But don't you want to hear from the film maker lobby
I disagree.
Fuji or whatever it is?
Because those are all private. You don't have to do it in private. Those congressional
No,
hearings.
You don't have to do it in private. That's right.
Congressional hearings. So why, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, these lobbyists are just doing things over private dinners and stuff like that, and meetings in the offices. No, like if you need like expert things, call them before Congress or the congressional committee, and then they have to testify that way. But this whole like behind doors stuff, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I wasn't making an argument in favor of
no, I just but that's what I'm saying. Like that's what I'm saying. Like that would be my way of getting rid of it. Like so, like that you were playing devil's advocate, and that would be my way of like getting rid of the devil's advocate. No, like there's no reason. Like that's all of that is purely smokescreen for people to do some dirty stuff.
It's leftover from a system. Like maybe you needed lobbyists because there are good things. Lobbyists are not always evil.
Lobbyists were allowed pretty recently.
Yeah, I mean it's What am I trying to say?
Our forefathers would be horrified. The founding fathers would be horrified at, like, I think it was like, I'm trying to remember.
About lots of shit, probably.
I'm trying to remember the year when they allowed lobbyists, but it was in the 19 somethings, like 40s or something. Yeah, like this.
That I didn't know. That's interesting.
It's not like lobbyists are not like have not always been allowed in Washington, but they're allowed to a certain extent now because of certain law changes, and I'll have to look them up so that we can.
Let's define lobbyist, because
people who are there on the basis and on behalf of a certain group or a certain cause, and who are there and who are allowed to just hang around, who are given like private meeting and private court pretty much with lawmakers, and allowed to present private cases as to why certain laws should be made.
Do they have to register as lobbyists?
For the most part, I think so. But these people are people who are known to like provide laws word by word to these lawmakers, and these lawmakers will then just propose it.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
That feels pretty dirty.
There's no way you can allow anybody to propose any law besides a lawmaker. Like, that doesn't make sense to me that we would allow people to just go into a dinner somewhere over some filet mignon and some shrimp and some surf and turf and say, you get to here's this slide over packet and like, hey, propose this law.
Yeah.
And then that congressman goes and builds support for it because he's been given a packet by some other outside interest. That just is completely wrong to me, and it completely subverts the whole idea of a representative democracy, because you're allowing people with more money to have more representation, which is what a representative democracy is supposed to stop.
Yeah. I guess like I'm trying to see the shades of gray here. And I know that there are lobbyists for causes that you and I would approve of
I want them gone too.
Right. So it's that's part A. Part B is, how do you keep, and what limits do you put on someone's First Amendment?
What do you mean by First Amendment?
The lobbyists themselves. Mm-hmm. Like, if I want to go to
Washington... You don't put anything on their First Amendment. You're putting a limit on the lawmaker. The lawmaker is in service to this country. There are certain restrictions. You are not allowed to accept bribes. You should not be allowed to accept court with a lobbyist. That's a completely different thing. You're not putting the onus.
I don't get, I guess, because like, I get what you're saying. I dig where you're going here, but it's that second part I don't understand. Like, you can't hang out with somebody who, like, is an activist.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If you're serving this country, you can't not be accepting information. You can't be sitting there in court like the same way. Okay, we have more restrictions on our college athletes. They can't go to a dinner with an agent.
Oh, really?
Yes, there's more restrictions on a college athlete than there is on a congressman.
Oh, I'd like to know more about that. That's interesting.
Like,
you can't get, like, if you're a college basketball guy.
If you're a college basketball recruit or you're a college basketball player,
and you want to play on a great team like the Denver Nuggets,
you cannot accept a dinner from an agent. You cannot accept gifts from any type of monetary, any type of gift, anything from an agent.
And why is that?
You can only be in their you can only have a private visit from them for like certain amounts of time, like, because that's the restrictions the NCAA has put on them to preserve the integrity of the sport, as they put it. So if we can have that for college athletes, you're telling me we can't have that for a congressman?
No, I'm hearing you.
That's what to me is mind-boggling.
I didn't know that. That's a good argument. But I don't understand why.
It's easily done. Like it was done before. Like I said, we've recently loosened these restrictions. Like it was a lot harder for lobbyists to be just hanging around and making court. Like you make it harder, and you restrict that access, and you get more honest politicians that way. Like because you just make it harder for people to just take money in weird ways.
Yeah, I guess like I don't know. I let's say that I feel strongly about some local issue, and I decide I want to go to Washington and talk to the congressperson in person about it.
All right.
That would be me lobbying on behalf of my community for some cause.
Okay. Yeah.
So, I don't know. That seems like a good part of the process.
You're a concerned citizen.
Yeah.
Are you paid by a company?
Oh, I see.
Then you're not a lobbyist. That's a lobbyist. A lobbyist is a paid representative from another organization or for a certain cause.
I forgot the paid part.
You're not just there on your own personal moral concerns. You're there because someone has provided money and someone is providing funds for you to then provide a lavish courtship to that person. That is completely different.
Interesting. Well, you're swaying me, Greg. I was a little confused about trying to tell motherfuckers who they can hang out with in their free time and shit.
Well, I mean, but even that is perfectly...
But that's different than...
You're telling a congressman who is serving their country, when they swear on, these are the restrictions. If they don't want to do that, you can't be congressman. Just like a football player can't take steroids. They're you're telling them what they can and cannot put in their body. We do that all the time in society, but we're so unwilling to do it at the highest level for the things that matter the most. But we're only unwilling to because they say not to. And they say not to because it makes it harder for them to cheat and to prosper from cheating.
Yeah, well, I mean, I agree with you. Just curious about those details. That's fun.
And I think people just forget how easily we have how easily things are paid off in Washington. Washington is not like some holy place where things are not much different than Russia, where people are paid off. Like, people are paid off in both countries.
Yeah. Oh, we got to get some good people running. I think there is some good people running this time. But, boy, we got to increase those numbers. We got to get those people out of there. Whew! What we want to do is put together a great team of politicians that can push forward the needs and meet the needs of the community. That's what we're looking for. And we wanted to be able to serve a few terms and whatever and get real laws passed. It's a long-term thing. Yeah. A nice congealed team, like the Denver Nuggets motherfucker, you know what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh.
We're winning!
Yeah, what's your record?
We only lost one.
You lost one. Who'd you lose to?
To some bunch of cheaters or something.
Bunch of cheaters, eh?
Bunch of rude guys with the...
Rude guys.
They had this giant with the ball.
What colors were they wearing? But chance wasn't purple.
It was like this, kind of like a plummy purple and like a piss yellow, maybe.
Purple yellow.
Because also,
that sounds so familiar.
They're named after.
Sounds royal, almost like NBA royalty.
No, it wasn't like royalty. It was
I don't know. It sounds like someone.
A yellow.
That sounds like an organization that would hold the most overall NBA championships.
They were named after a large body of liquid, and their main color is yellow. That's all I know.
Okay.
I think that they're called the Puddles.
Oh, the Puddles. That's what you think?
The piss puddles.
It sounds like you're referring to the Los Angeles Lakers, those of 16 NBA championships.
Yeah.
Okay. So NBA royalty.
We lost a game to them.
And how did that feel?
Not good.
Not good. I would imagine so. Now, to be frank, my Los Angeles Lakers are struggling.
Yeah.
We're trying to get ourselves together. We're trying to find our rotations.
A big mean boy joined.
But that was a big game for us.
Pushing everybody around on the schoolyard and shit. He's pushing everybody around. No, LeBron's amazing. He's like the most amazing athlete ever or whatever. No, the dudes on the Warriors are fucking crazy too.
Yeah, the Warriors are just that team's a different level,
dude.
I don't know.
I don't know
what anyone is going to be able to do about that. That's I think they're gonna three-peat.
Dude, they're wild good.
I think they're going 3 in a row.
We beat the shit out of those guys.
Yes.
We defeated them.
We
defeated them. We made fools of them.
Was it up in the Warriors' place, or was that at home?
I don't recall.
I just want to remind people that the Denver Nuggets play in altitude, so that there may be a little bit of short-windedness whenever people come to space.
We're real good. We're from space.
People, I can't imagine playing a basketball game like if you played like all the time, like in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! And you had to come up to Denver.
That sucks.
That has to hurt.
But also, when the Denver guys who play at altitude all the time go down,
no, they feel great.
Oxygen rich environment, they feel fucking great.
Yeah.
So I mean, like it's a benefit both ways.
Yes. Yeah, it's like they don't lose either way. They're just going down there and they're like, oh my gosh, I can run forever.
Right. So like we're actually very dangerous in LA or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, because our tempo doesn't mean anything because you can just run with us. That's our big thing. Is Lakers run really fast. They try to get up and down the court really fast, and so that's why Denver always plays them tough because they can come to LA, and it doesn't matter how fast we get up and down the court because they're like, oh, 3 miles here, yeah, it's like 5
science.
up in, yeah,
it's science, piss puddle. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. I think Nuggets drown in a lake.
No way. Nuggets don't need to breathe. You can't drown rocks.
Denver Nuggets.
If you put enough of those nuggets in that lake, there's no more lake. That's what I know about it.
Yes.
You just fill that puddle right up. No mo. That's what I know. We've only lost one game. It's to those fellas, and it's because they've got, they bought this extra guy that's like crazy good.
Bought this extra guy.
Isn't that how it works? They buy them from each other, and like everybody like works for the team.
He came willingly.
Yeah, of course.
And because he knows what a great franchise Los Angeles Lakers were. The Denver Nuggets did have an offer out there, and he was like, he didn't even meet with y'all.
He didn't even meet with us. Now I'm offended. Because he would be a great Denver Nugget. He would be a great Denver Nugget. But he would dominate the team and throw us out of bounds. That may be what's happening to you.
No, we just have a whole bunch of new players with a whole lot of turnover. And our most tenured players are really young, like 21 years old.
Uh-huh.
So the player who's been on our team the longest has only been there for 3 years.
So what you're telling me is, you guys aren't very good, except for this one guy that you bought because you have all the money.
What I'm telling you is that we are struggling to find the rotations that will best suit us for the season, and that it was still cake to go ahead and get that win against y'all.
Sounds like you guys are sitting on it and rotating.
It sounds like we were still able to, when it came down to it, it mattered, and we're like, oh, the Nuggets? Let's get this one.
Yeah, it wasn't. I didn't see the score, but I assume it was close.
It's all right. Close.
Was it kind of close?
It was pretty close, yeah.
I hope so. Jokic, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he got
oh, man, Jokic did good. He's doing some good basketball.
He is doing some good basketball. My man Lonzo hit a step back on him, though.
Well.
Yeah. It happens to the best of them, but
He's kind of big and slow. Like Jokic, he's a little bit slow.
He needs to work on the foot speed a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
LeBron, though, I mean, I'm just worried. Aren't we just glad that the Warriors didn't take him or anything like that? Because that would be the nightmare situation.
I don't think he would have gone to the Warriors.
No, he wouldn't get enough ball time. He would take it from those other guys all the time.
He would get enough ball time, but it'd just be no one would ever give him props for going to the Warriors. Like,
oh, he wants to go to it. Oh, wait a minute. Are you telling me that LeBron didn't want to join a strong team because he wouldn't get the glory? So he wanted to join a team that was weak?
I don't think he wanted...
Like the Lakers?
I don't think he wanted to join a team that was at the top because it would seem kind of a weak move. He wanted to join a team that would have to beat the top team. A team that was ascending, like the Lakers.
Ascending?
Yeah.
Okay.
With some of the top talent, top destination in the NBA.
I know that.
Great weather.
Once they get their flow, I'm sure they'll be a great team.
Great weather. And plus he has a whole bunch of interest in doing some things in Hollywood. So I think that probably has something to do with it.
He wants to be in movies?
Oh, he's making movies.
He's in movies.
Space Jam 2.
He's making Space Jam 2?
Yeah. He's got like a production company and stuff. Yeah, he's got all that.
They should get Charles Barkley to be the villain. Because I like that guy. I miss that character. Did you ever watch him play?
So
he was so mad all the time.
Charles, I'm trying to. What did he play in?
He was
you're talking about in basketball. I thought you were talking about in the movie.
No.
So yeah, no, he was always like raging out and always getting in fights.
Yeah, he would be the worst actor ever. He'd be like Ray Romano. Minus 10.
He doesn't have the greatest enunciation.
No, it's the worst. I love that.
It would be funny if like he came on, he was talking English and subtitles came up in the movie.
That'd be awesome. They should do that. He's awesome. Yeah, LeBron's crazy good, and I'm sure that the Lakers will like.
Oh, we're gonna
pass him the ball
pull
a
it
bunch,
together.
So I'm sure
pull it together.
But it's all gonna be about this one guy.
No.
You just like
we're gonna develop
this new guy that hired on, and
we're gonna develop our younger talent, and we're gonna pull it together, and we're gonna get better.
Do you think that he's the kind of dude that would like help the younger dudes, or you think he's just gonna take the ball
So far,
away?
he's been trying a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit, which I'm surprised because I would think he would just take the ball away.
Yeah,
we'll see. We'll see if it continues.
He's take the ball away every single time.
Get in the corner.
Go stand by the goal in case it goes away.
Yeah. Get rebounds.
Yeah. And LeBron's mostly an inside player, right? Doesn't he mostly
for the most part, he's been expanding out a little bit as he grows older.
He seems like... Because those are only worth 2 points, as I'm aware.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's better to have players that are good at getting three-pointers, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, that's why I think the Warriors are doing so well. Because they got that guy.
They've got the greatest shooter of all time.
He's
Steph Curry.
Yeah, Steph Curry. And no, the other guy.
Klay Thompson.
No. Oh man. Steph Curry. Yeah, maybe it is Steph Curry.
They've also got Kevin Durant.
Okay, yeah, it is Steph Curry. I was getting Durant. I can't remember the names.
Steph Curry's the shorter, light-skinned one, and he's number 30, quick release.
Yeah. Shoots
from really far out.
Yeah, okay, yeah. The guy that's on the outside, yeah. He's a monster, dude. That guy, I look, if you're going to lose, that's the kind of guy you want to lose to. Because he's, like, miraculous, you know? So I love watching that guy play, for sure.
Yeah,
I'm kind of getting into the vibe of watching people move and being able to enjoy that or whatever.
You understand some more about how it's played a little bit, how everybody gets about the court.
A little bit, yeah. It's interesting, and I like that you can eat chicken wings the whole time, and there's no judgment about that. I like that about basketball. So I like that, and I like that the Nuggets already seem to have their stride together, and they're, the Phoenix Suns. I was looking at their record. They're choking, dude. They're having a rough time.
They are. Excuse me. They are. They have been. Excuse me. Struggling for the last couple seasons. They're trying to grow up a little bit. And they've got really young roster. But they are. They're getting better. They've got a center that has some promise, and they've got a guard that is one of be better guards in the NBA. He put up 70-something points in a game. One of the better scorers. He could do better on defense a little bit.
I'll always think the Bulls are a good team just because when I was growing up, they were the shit. You know.
Yeah, but they haven't been.
They're 2-8, looks like.
Yeah, they've been struggling as well.
The Cavaliers are 1-8.
Yeah, they're gonna struggle this year.
Yeah, because LeBron's gone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he left, and they're gonna have some problems. They're probably gonna be winning a lot.
That sucks, man. That guy's that good.
Yeah, apparently.
I mean, I don't know. The last playoffs, it seemed like it was marketed as, here's this guy versus these two guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's. I don't know. That team has just got some problems.
Yeah, it's interesting to follow the numbers. I'm so glad the Nuggets. I was looking at so many of them. That the Nuggets are actually doing well and winning games. It's really nice. Because this is the first year I've gotten interested in at all.
So it's a good season for you to come in on.
It's nice that they're winning some games, you know?
Nice.
Yeah, I watched this 30 for 30 thing. It was on Netflix, and it was about the Orlando Magic. You know? And it was like when they're first getting going or whatever.
Was it the Penny Hardaway and...
Yeah. Shaq. And because I remember all that shit. That's when, like, all my friends loved basketball. They were fanatics. And they loved, you know, Penny Hardaway, and they do the fadeaway, and, you know, they're all playing and stuff. And so I saw those commercials, the Pepsi commercials and all that stuff. I loved all that stuff, but, like, I didn't care about basketball, really. I liked all the kind of pageantry around it of, like, oh, man, well, I like to wear these awesome shoes. I'm like, I like those shoes, too. And I like to fucking, I'm this little doll.
You didn't really care for the game.
Yeah, not really, no.
Gotcha.
No, and I think it was, like, Chris Rock did the voice of Lil Penny. Do you remember that?
I'm trying to remember.
I think it was...
I might have been...
a little doll of Penny Hardaway.
I didn't really pay... Okay, so I didn't pay attention. I paid attention to a lot of football when I was younger, not a lot of basketball.
Okay. It was all basketball in my world. And I didn't care, but it was like the sport. But, yeah, I remember those commercials, dude. It was hilarious. They were putting these guys in, like... movies and stuff back then. They were putting, like, you know, Shaq as a genie or as like Steel. He's like a superhero. The worst. But even, like, you know what was good? Michael Jordan in Space Jam. Was the shit.
Yeah, I used to love that movie.
Yeah. So I think like athletes in acting. Not good.
Don't really fare well.
That's not very good.
No, not at all.
That's usually how I think about it. But, you know, I hate to judge. We'll see. Maybe somebody will blow my mind or whatever.
You never know.
Wouldn't it be awesome if LeBron gets in there and has that movie and he's like just the greatest actor?
Greatest actor.
Oh, my God. Look at him.
Tom Hanks reincarnated.
Yeah, it's Tom Hanks. Yeah, Tom Hanks is one of my great actors, maybe. Yeah, that would be fucking radical. I would love that. I would love that more than anyone.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah, Daniel Day-Lewis is the shit. For sure. That guy's so strange. Do you know about his acting stuff?
I'm pretty sure he's really big into method acting, from what I understand.
He is. He's very into it. And method acting is such a strange...
Yeah, you're diving deep on that one.
Yeah, man. That's weird. I think that's what happened to Jim Carrey. You know how Jim Carrey's going through this phase right now?
Well, they were saying they think that's what happened to Heath Ledger when he was doing Joker.
Yep. Jim Carrey did this thing where he was... what's that movie called? Oh, brain. Why does the THC keep you from remembering? Oh, man. He did some movie where he portrayed this comedian named Andy Kaufman. Yes. Whew, got it. I know that and he really went deep and like pretended to be Kaufman on the set, and the whole time method actor. And then the next role that he was supposedly taking on was Terrence McKenna. Do you know who that is?
No, I've heard that name though.
Okay, he's a famous psychedelic researcher and speaker. And my guess is Jim Carrey decided to really get involved with psychedelics for the first time in research for that role, and I think that fucked his shit up, and it gave him like the real thing, and he was like, I was just trying to play a role, and it was like, no, I'm fucking with you now. You want to fuck? Let's fuck, because that shit doesn't fuck around. He went in trying to become, because he'd be a great Terrence McKenna. He kind of looks like him a little bit. You could definitely do it. It would be awesome. Great movie. There'll be an Alan Watts movie. There'll be a Terrence McKenna movie. A KRS-One movie. I'm into KRS-One. Do you like KRS-One?
KRS-One?
Hip hop fellow?
Yeah.
He's got, he also does lectures and stuff. Really interesting guy. I've been listening to lectures by him for a little bit now.
I have to check that out.
I can't say I agree with, every little thing he says. He kind of gets into this spiritual place of like, summoning your destiny kind of thing. But mostly he uses like hip hop to talk about history, and he takes the roots of hip hop to go all the way back to like the Stone Age and shit. Gotcha. I don't know how real that is, but like I love listening to him, man. He just is fascinating.
Yeah, people like that are interesting. There's some lectures I can listen to, but some lectures are just like I prefer the TED Talks.
Yeah, I like TED Talks. How
attention span goes.
TED Talks are kind of a weird thing. Maybe we should do an episode on TED Talks.
I've watched like only maybe one or two.
Well, I've watched a bunch of them.
Really?
You know Denny Driscoll?
Yeah.
Denny Driscoll did a TED Talk.
Did he?
So, that it's a reachable thing. Like it's something that you could maybe do.
Yeah, I don't know.
He did one about his art and stuff. It was interesting because they do them locally. There's like, it's like what do you call that? You pay him a licensing fee and you can put one on.
Gotcha.
It's so cool. I was jealous of him a little bit because it's so cool to be able to did a TED Talk. But Denny's such a fucking great artist, and he's a great businessman. He finds stuff like that. He's cool. And it was a good thing he did too. But it's a reachable thing, TED Talk. We could probably do one.
I need to look at more. Well, do we have anything else for the people?
I think that we should work on some type of a recipe thing. I think that we should make up sandwiches, and we should do like a sandwich when the Denver Nuggets win. We eat a certain kind of sandwich with chicken nuggets in it or something. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And when the Lakers win, we eat like some soup.
I'm sensing there's a lot less thought and enthusiasm put behind the Lakers winning.
Yeah, just trying to think.
I don't think you're gonna be eating soup all year.
Dude, we should. You know what we should? Okay, for real. Here's what we should do. We should create a meal that the listeners at home can make that represents both of our teams. So some type of a sandwich, maybe like with chicken nuggets in it for the Denver Nuggets, and then maybe we do like a French dip situation.
Yeah, there you go.
For the Lakers. We could color it purple. We just like dip the sandwich in there. Then we got like a unity thing happening.
Trying to put me in the lake bottle.
Yeah, because what else would you do even? Soup or juice, I guess, would be good.
Man, yes.
Like a French dip sandwich is good eating. You know, like French dip. You know, like wet bread.
Yes, that's
right. I knew it right when I looked at you. I know you well enough to know that. Oh, you know, like the wet bread. Okay. Cheese. How about queso? Because that's yellow. That could be for the Lakers.
That's
a lake of queso.
Mac and cheese.
Ooh, mac and cheese? Yeah, mac and cheese and chicken nuggets on a sandwich?
Fry up mac and cheese patty.
I think we should try and make this. We should do an episode where we try and make a meal, you know, and we try and like cook a wax sandwich to represent to like
I don't know,
unify
fried mac and cheese
our
does
teams.
not sound whack.
No, it sounds awesome. Sounds really awesome. Yeah. Anyway, so there you go. There's an extra idea.
True, that does sound really good. Oh, that's making me hungry.
Yeah, I'm hungry too. I haven't eaten dinner yet.
All right. Well, on that note, this has been the Late Weekend Show.
So late.
My name is Greg.
I'm Ando, though.
And we gave you some serious time of content. Enjoy. Peace.
Bye-bye.